And before I get into the story of how I got into investing, I feel like some introductions are in order. Hello, my name is Victor Covarrubias. I am 31 years of age at the moment, and I have been investing in the stock market now for going on 8 years now. But let's not waste any more time and let's go back in time to when I was 24 and I was daydreaming about being a millionaire, as one does. At the age of 24, I had in my mind that I wanted to be a millionaire by the age of 65. So that pretty much gave me 40 years to reach my goal, which at the time I thought was absolutely reasonable and something that I could attain. But once I sat down and did the math, that's when I started to learn that maybe I was shooting for the moon here. $1 million in 40 years would have meant that I had to save $25,000 a year. And I was happy with my mere $1,000 or $2,000 that I had saved at the time. But instead of despairing, I immediately thought, wait a minute. There are people my age, if not younger, that are millionaires now. So how did they do it? And anytime I have a question, I turn to Google. And Google had 3 responses for me. Number 1, the number 1 way that people become a millionaire in their lifetime is to start a business. But again, I was a 24-year-old. I really didn't have any expertise in any particular field, and I felt like I did not have enough capital to get anything going. The second way that people become a millionaire was through real estate, according to Google. But here again, I immediately started to run some numbers and I was like, there's no way I can get a loan for any type of property. I only have a couple of $1,000s. So again, went down the list, and number 3, third time's the charm, the stock market. At the time, I had no idea what the stock market was. It felt like some abstract place where just business went on, or at least that's what I thought anyway. I didn't really understand what the stock market was, how it worked, or how to even get started investing. But again, that did not discourage me. I was ready to learn. I wanted to see how I could turn my money and grow it over time. And it felt like the stock market was the perfect place to do that. It was then that I remembered, I think it was sometime in elementary school, where I learned about a story. I think it was called the Magic Penny. So let's just play pretend here for a moment. You in the white shirt in the front. Let's play pretend and let's say that you are the monarch and I have just saved the economy of your kingdom. As payment, you have 2 options that I provide. Option number 1 is to pay me a flat $500,000. Option number 2 would be to pay me for 30 days straight. On the first day, you'll pay me 1 penny, but it will double after every day. So for example, on the first day, you'll give me 1 penny. On the second day, I'll get 2 cents. On the third day, 4 cents, and so on for 30 days. So take a moment here, pause the video if you'd like, and tell me, which option would you choose as payment? Now remember, I just saved your economy, but at the same time, you don't want to overpay me, right? Okay, have you come up with an answer? Well, if you chose option number 2, the magic penny, you better have some deep pockets. Yes, option number 1 seems incredibly expensive. $500,000 right out the door? What are you, crazy? But option number 2 would have been incredibly more expensive, and that is because of the power of compounding. Sure, on the first week, I'll probably have sleep for dinner a couple of nights, and going into the second week, it still doesn't look that impressive. But once you get into the 3rd and 4th week, giving it ample time to compound, you can see that at the end of the 30 days, you would owe me over $5 million. And I just want to clarify, those $5 million, that's the amount that is owed on the 30th day. If you were to take the sum of days 1 through 30, you would owe me a total of $10.7 million by the end of the month. And to provide a visual, look at how insane these numbers get. The first 20 days don't even register on here. That's how big the numbers get. You see maybe a sliver of data here on the 21st day, but then just look at how big these numbers get in the last 9 days or so. That right there is the power of compounding. And to really drive the point home, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite books on finance, and it is The Psychology of Money. In the book, Morgan Housel talks about Warren Buffett, also known as the Oracle of Omaha, who is one of the best investors of all time. And personally, one of my favorite guys to learn from because he has such great wisdom and so many great quotes on the stock market and investing in general. In his book, Morgan Housel states, "As I write this, Warren Buffett's net worth is $84.5 billion. Of that, $84.2 billion was accumulated after his 50th birthday. $81.5 billion came after he qualified for Social Security in his mid-60s. Again, the more time that you give yourself in order to invest, to let your money compound on itself, the higher your net worth will be." And for me, it really changed the meaning of time is money. See, I used to think that phrase used to mean you go to work, you put in your time, you get paid. But now I'm not so sure. Now I'm thinking time is money. The more time you have on your side, the harder your money will work for you instead of you working to get money. So what's the lesson here? You are absolutely underestimating the power of compounding. And the younger you are, the more time you have to let your money grow. So if you are in your 20s or in your 30s still, like I am, you have plenty of time to grow your wealth. That doesn't mean that if you're 40 or in your 50s watching this video, oh no, it's too late, I can't grow my wealth. No, absolutely not. It's just better if you start younger. So thank you so much for joining me here today. If you are interested in growing your wealth, be sure to hit the subscribe button and keep an eye out for future videos. My goal here is to post every single week, so be sure to stay tuned and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.